Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to this session with Vasudhendra. We are going to discuss a book today called Tejo Tungabhadra, which starts right here in Calicut in the 15th century. It was first published in 2020 in Kannada and has now gone into its 15th reprint. It was so very popular amongst Kannada readers. And it was subsequently translated into English in 2022 by Penguin Random House and has also been going into reprints. So congratulations, Vasudhendra, on this very successful book. A little piece of historical fiction which talks about two rivers and two cities. The river Tejo, which flows through Lisbon in Portugal, and the river Tungabhadra, which flew through the mighty Vijayanagara Empire. In the 15th and 16th centuries, this novel talked about, it captures so many different concepts. I wanted to ask you this. You spent, and I read this somewhere, 3 years researching on this book. So where did the initial idea or the seed of the idea come from? And what was that passion, what was that impetus that led you to spend 3 years on researching this book? What was that draw?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. It's really heartening to speak at this land where a real Indian history got changed on this seashore when Vasco da Gama landed here on 20th May 1498. It's unbelievable. If he had not come here, our history would have been very different. So this is a landmark place in Indian history, okay, the Calicut beach. So I'll tell you the reason why I took this subject. It's something very different. My background is I'm a software engineer. I have worked in IT for more than 20 years. Now I'm a full-time writer. So what happened is, my first book which got translated to English is called as Mohanaswamy. It has been published by DC Books as well. It is in Malayalam. It is there, and it's there in many other languages, including English, Spanish, Telugu, Tamil, and all. So what happened? That book is about the stories of a gay man. An Indian gay man. It was kind of a personal autobiographical stories, and it became a big hit. Afterwards, wherever I go, I was only recognized by the gay identity. So absolutely nothing outside that. Anywhere I go, they ask me to speak in the LGBT panel. Of course, I'm a out and proud gay man, but it became very panic when everyone talks about only from that perspective and they don't see any other personality of your authorship. So then I said, no, I have to write something where I am not there, where my presence is not there. That can only happen if I go to history. In history, I won't be there, right? So I said, let me take something like 500 years history. So 500 years back, what had happened. So that is the time. So I knew, because I am from Hampi, so near to the Hampi place is my native. So take the Vijayanagara history. So I decided, let us start with the Vijayanagara period and see what's going to happen. So I kept on reading. See, writing a contemporary fiction is different, writing a historical fiction is different. While writing the contemporary fiction, you won't hesitate to write some 10 paragraphs because you are very authentic about the subject, you know what's going on. But history is not like that. When you are writing even a single sentence, you need to think at least 10 times whether that sentence suits that period or not, to be more realistic, right? So you can't say whether someone was using a paper, whether paper was there or not. If say someone was eating mirchi, the chili, so you don't know whether chili was there at that time or not, onion was there at that time or not. So everything, any sentence you write about the historical fiction, you need to be extremely careful. To get that confidence, to that courage, you need to study a lot. If you read at least 2-3 years, then you'll get a confidence that, okay, I can write at least one paragraph about that particular period. So that is the reason why I took so much of time for studying the history. But what happened very historically is while studying the Vijayanagara history, I came across the Portuguese history. That was pretty surprising to me. Like, I was more fascinated towards the Portuguese, though they were almost like a villains for our Indian subcontinent. But the courage they have shown, the valorship they had, it's unbelievable actually. So I wanted to see the social life of the Portuguese. What happened in Lisbon during that time, when Vasco da Gama came here and went away, he made 60 times more money than what has been invested by the Queen of the Lisbon. Okay, so King of the Lisbon, King Manuel. So much of money, what is the impact it had on Portuguese? So I studied from the social perspective, the social life of Lisbon, especially Yahudis. Yahudis means Jews. What was the Jews' life there against the Catholics, and what was the life of Indians here in front of these Portuguese who come with totally a new religion? Though not so much new religion, Christianity was already there here. It is there from the first century itself in India, but they started imposing it actually. So what happened? What clashes came into picture? Not celebrating any queen or king or any of the warrior, I focused on a common man. What was a life of a common man in this particular period? That's how I wrote this book, and that's why more authentic study of the subject was required. So it almost 3 to 4 years I have studied only that subject. And I had a doubt. I'm a software engineer. Can I write a historical fiction? That itself is a scary part, right? So people will laugh at you. So academicians, when you tell that, they will laugh at you. So I said, like, can I write? Then I said, like, as a software engineer, I have studied so many subjects. I have studied Java, I have studied object-oriented methodology and so many other subjects. Why can't history? History is also another subject. That's how I took the courage and started reading that. And of course, I could write this 460 pages big novel. So I'm happy about it. And my next novel is also based on the history.
Vasu, you've said that you didn't want to put yourself in this story. And this is history. But there is a personal element with, and there is a personal connect with Vijayanagar. Tell us about that.
Yeah. See, though we say that it is historical fiction or mythological fiction, there cannot be any such genre. Everything is a contemporary fiction only. If I am writing sitting today and writing about an incident which has happened long back, means it is contemporary only. I cannot claim it as a historical fiction. So the contemporary elements will invariably get into the picture. For example, just one simple incident, the Christian Devaraya has changed so many villages' names from Shaiva names to Vaishnava names. The Shaiva names was Shivapura. He will change it to Krishnapura. The Shaiva name will be Shivanagara. He will change it to Krishnanagara. What is that he has done? It's the exactly same as what is happening in India today. Or it has happened before as well. Everyone wants to change the name of the villages which are long existing villages or cities to the religion which suits them. During that time it was Shaiva, Vaishnava, and now it might be Hindu, Muslim. It's not different at all. Everything is same. So that kind of contemporary element automatically pop in your fiction writing. And that's what should happen. If it doesn't happen, if you just keep on writing like a historian, it is not a historical fiction at all. You need to look at from the contemporary perspective. So a lot of contemporary perspective will be there from feminist point of view, from the LGBT point of view, or it could be the political or even medical. I have brought so much about the medical perspective also in the book.
Also women.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed was the way you tell women's stories and how these stories are similar across different cities which have which are separated by continents and water, the stories of women, everyday women, are similar.
Similar. Okay, maybe if I can bring a gender also into picture, generally a gay man understands women much better than a heterosexual man. Okay, so he can portray a woman much easily and much clearly and much factually. So what had happened is, like for me, what shook me is in Vijayanagara period, they have written, oh, so many travelers have written, after husband dies, women used to go laughingly, smilingly, with courageously and jump into the fire. That is Sati Sahagamana, which you are all aware of it. You might have read it in this thing. So I said, how can anybody, any woman can walk like that and jump into the fire? So that means she was brainwashed to that extent that if she jumps, nothing will happen. She will go directly to the paradise and she will have a better life without even allowing her to think rationally. So I said, like, my heroine, if she is going to be a feminist, she is going to run away from that incident. She goes near to the fire and she will run away from it, saying that I'm not going to jump into it because I love life, not the death. So if she can do that one, she is the real feminist. That is the seed of my novel. That's what while reading my history, I felt I should have a heroine who will do that for me. So she will run away from Sati Sahagamana. So that's how I started it. So that comes because of the modern feminist movement. Otherwise, how do I think about all those things, you know? Like you feel, when I look at the period, for me, all religions, whether it is Islam, whether it's Hindu, or whether it's Christianity, so they had good elements as well as the bad elements. And politicians have always tried to misuse the religion to their benefit. And it has happened during Vijayanagara period also, and it is happening now also. It will continue to happen whoever takes the power. Irrespective of who they are, it will continue to happen. So that idea, if it is there, the way you look at a historical subject will be very different. You will not get biased. You should never look at the characters thinking that, oh, he is an Indian or he is a Hindu. So if you get into that loop, that kind of a crux, then you will not be able to write honestly. So you will get biased. So try to stay away from all that and look at from all the perspectives so that you will not be forced from any ideology. So if ideology influences you while writing a fiction, it loses its flavor, you know, so it will not have a original authenticity of a novel, or it won't be a kalakruti, it won't be an art piece, it starts becoming an activist piece. So I was very careful about that, not to become an activist while writing this particular novel. I had to stay away from all the religion, all the gender, and all other things also, but be very critical based on what has happened. That's why I have dared enough to talk about portraying Krishna Devaraya, almost Krishna Devaraya as a villain here. Who will dare to write such kind of things? Of course, this is coming in Malayalam also. The translation is complete. So very soon you will be able to read it in Malayalam also, this novel. So we have completed the translation, and it's a big hit even in Telugu as well. So Telugu also, people have liked this book a lot. So of course, lot of Kerala is there in it. So this particular land comes extensively. You might not be aware, like some of the small things, it's so fascinating for me. When Vasco da Gama lands here, so people of Calicut takes him to Bhagavati temple for the darshan, because whoever the new people comes here, so they used to take him to the Bhagavati, the temple. In the Bhagavati temple actually, so he has gone there, he has never realized that it's a different religion. He has still thought it's a Christian religion only. The religion which is followed in Kerala is a Christian religion, he has thought. And he has written in his biography saying that their church is very different. In their church, the gods have got 4 hands and all. So he has written all those things, and they give, instead of wine, they give liquid, like tirtham he has got. No? So instead of wine, they give only the water in your hand to drink. So all that is there, those details which are very, very fascinating. And finally, when he goes to Jamarin, so Jamarin, Samudri we call, right? So Samudri, what happens? So you are not supposed to drink water by touching your lips to the cup, actually. So in front of a royal man, royal person, the Jomarin, you are not supposed to touch the tumbler to your lips. That is the tradition here followed in Calicut. But he cannot drink lifting the tumbler. The water he cannot drink lifting the tumbler. And he entire water falls on his shirt, actually, not shirt, the body. And he gets so insulted and he walks away from the meeting of Jamarin itself. So those are the things which are cultural differences and all, which are very fascinating. So that has also attracted me a lot from the common man perspective, not from the kings and queens perspective. I think we need to open up to this thing. So time do we have?
Okay, so we can open up for a couple of questions from the audience if there are any. Yeah, there's one. Santosh has one.
Yeah, that is still there, but still it's a safer zone, okay? It's quite safer zone. And what happens, I found it is, the history writing is a challenge, actually. So for me, always the challenge being not to write what you know and what you experienced. For me, the challenge is to imagine something which you have not seen. That is the real talent of an author or a fiction writer, right? You need to imagine something which you have not seen. That's where the talent comes into picture. So I said, that's the highest test for my writing. So if I can visualize a world where I have was not there, so that is going to be the real judgment for my ability of a fiction writer. So that's why I felt I go in this thing. But for me, whether you write contemporary, mythology or history, anything you write, you can either write a good fiction or you can write a bad fiction. There cannot be anything in between, you know, so like kind of a thing. But what happened with this fiction is something very interesting which I would like to share with you. So I'm a person who do not believe in following the rituals, you know. So like my parents have passed away almost 24 years back, but I never do any shraddha or anything of that sort. So, and of course, my sisters are very angry with me for that. But what happened is, while writing this novel, you know, like you start feeling connected to those people. You have a doubt that maybe he might be your forefather. There might be someone who is related to me there. There might be my friend's relative there also. So many people, when you are writing, you feel like you are connected to those souls in some way or other way. It's actually, while completing this book, I got a feeling that I did Pitru Paksha. If you know what you mean by Pitru Paksha, means it's like parents' ceremony, like one day in a Mahalaya Amavasya, you give food to all your elders who have passed away. You're right? So that kind of feeling I got while writing this book, actually. Though I don't do for rituals, but I felt like I'm writing about my forefathers. It's quite an interesting thing. And they have also done in their own way lot of celebrations, lot of successes. They have also achieved quite a lot, but we have to look at from a different perspective. For example, a ship building, making a beautiful ship is as good as the latest spacecraft which you are trying to build. When they saw a ship, a beautiful ship, they used to get excited in the same way we see when a spacecraft is flying in the sky. So both are same. So we need to have that kind of an awareness, what was their time and what was that period. So that's also an interesting object. Yeah, Pitru Tarpan, yeah, that's what. So Pitru Tarpan is this book, I felt like that. While writing 500 years back history, it is real Pitru Tarpan for me.
Hi, sir. Hi, ma'am. So my question is completely unrelated to the topic we were discussing. But I think that both of you are very much qualified to actually give me an honest answer. My question is about getting published in India. So I have heard that if you send your manuscript to a publishing house, directly to a publishing house, it sometimes take up to 6 months to even get a reply from them. So how does how does an agent or an editor help you to get published in India?
Okay, so I'm also a publisher. I'm publishing from 20 years in Canada. Okay, I'm a publisher, so I can answer, but she will be a better person to answer that question. So, though it is not related to this topic, so thing is, it depends upon which language you are writing. Whatever the problem which you are saying is a problem related to English. If you are writing in Malayalam or in Kannada, I don't think you face this much of problem. Okay, in Kannada, I encourage all youngsters who are writing it for the first time in Kannada, any book they are writing, I give them 50,000 rupees and I publish their book and I celebrate it like anything, you know. So the people wait for me to publish their works there actually. So regional, better you write it in vernacular language, or we should not call vernacular, the Indian languages if you can write, so it's much easier to publish. But if you are writing in English, she knows it's a real problem. It's not easy actually.
If you have written it in Malayalam and you send me the translated version in English, I'll publish it.
Yeah, maybe you can have a separate chat with her later on. Okay.
So, no, I mean, on a serious note, it does take us long because I think perhaps just the volume of work is more because there are a lot more people writing in English and not just fiction. So people, English books can be on so many different topics. It can be business books, economics, science fiction, politics, philosophy, people writing on beauty, wellness, hair care, what kind of shampoo. An English book can be on any kind of topic. So we publish a wide variety of, in a wide variety of subject areas. And we are only a certain group of people doing it. So I think the volume of work is such that sometimes it takes longer, simply in terms of the kind of things that come in and for us to respond in times. It's just that really. I don't think there is any other mysterious reason here. It's just that the volume of publishing is far higher. There are more English books being published perhaps all across the Indian subcontinent, as opposed to the books that are published in the Indian languages. And also it takes time, as you see, the original is published in a certain language, then somebody has to translate it, and then somebody has to vet the translation to see whether Vasu likes his translation, It's not just, Vasu wrote a book, and then Maitreyi took a certain amount of time to translate that book. Then Maitreyi had to spend time vetting that book with Vasu to discuss. So this takes longer. And it takes us longer also to then discuss with two different people what they want to put into the book, what they want to remove, what they want to keep. So it takes longer. A translation takes longer.
We'll conclude.
But otherwise, we'll have a separate conversation.
Yeah, you need a separate conversation for this. Yeah?
Thank you so much. This session, we are actually running completely out of time. So thank you so much. Thank you, Vasudhendra, for coming all the way from Bangalore. And I hope you guys get to read Tejo Tungabhadra in Malayalam now that it's coming out, and also in English.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks, Moutushi. And thanks everyone here.